Bro never smiles. Bro never has a good time. Time to get drunk on a podcast and see what's happening. Shame is what got you started, fine, but you have to eventually eat and train because you love and respect your body, not because you hate it. You're like, hey, I have a good physique, but I will go out and I will get washed, and I will not feel bad about it.
The only people who get to see the full TSL time part are the ones who make it to the fucking pet.
The one who make it to the end.
Pour up a damn tequila! Welcome back to the TSL Time podcast, where every day is a bad day to be a bottle of tequila. Today we are here with the one and only Higher Up Wellness.
What's up, brother?
I'm so fucking excited. How we feeling?
Dude, I feel amazing. Miami's been sick since I got here. I'm stoked to do this podcast with you and finish out the weekend strong.
Let's fucking do it. First time in Miami. Give us a little bit of what did you think of Miami before you came here? I know I haven't really shown you much yet. Today's Friday. Tomorrow, tonight, we're going to get a little bit around the city. But what have you heard about Miami? What are your expectations while I give ourselves a couple TSLs to get this beautiful day going?
Yeah. Pour those bad boys up, and I'll yap about Miami a little bit. Man, I've obviously have preconceived notions. Miami's like Vegas. You know, you hear stories. You hear about how it could be or how it is. It's a party city. It's fast-paced. But, you know, what you've shown me so far, it's been chill. It's been calm. Traffic, not as bad as I thought it would be. And I really like it, although it's hot as hell. It's so hot and it's so humid. We went for that run this morning, and I was borderline dehydrated as hell, like right when we finished, after a 30-minute run.
Dude, the first thing I tell everyone before they come to Miami for the first time is, I don't know if you felt it, but when you walked out of the baggage claim gates, those two sliding doors, it feels like you have been swallowed by some moist dog water.
And it's like getting punched in the throat.
You start sweating after a minute. Did you feel that?
Yeah, it's like breathing through a hot, wet washcloth at all times. It's terrible, bro. And is it like this all year?
It's pretty much, I mean, dude, there's no seasons in Miami. It's fucking summer. In the winter, like the best time in Miami, which most tourists don't get to experience, is usually between late November and January, where the temperature drops like maybe low 70s on certain days, and the humidity kind of cranks down. The beach is the nicest at that time of the year, but for the most part, it's straight fucking moist Vietnam.
God, dude, I don't know if I can handle that. I'm too hot-natured, man. My furnace runs hot. Here, should we get a sip?
Yeah, let's get a little cheers going here.
Salud, brother. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
You know, I'm excited about this because everyone that watches my videos always says shit like, bro never smiles, bro never has a good time, bro doesn't do anything fun. It's like, well, time to get drunk on a podcast and see what's happening.
Time to get a little peppered on the podcast with Higher Up. We want to let the dog get out of the cage with this man over here in Miami. You're currently training for an ultra marathon, right?
Yeah, this is part of prep right here. You got to train the liver with the lungs.
Does tequila have an impact on your performance when you're stomping the ones and twos?
I personally, one, there's no better cure to a hangover than a 17-mile run. So it's like it never happened. But yeah, I drank all through marathon prep. Probably wasn't a good idea. Drank through my last ultra prep. And you're not getting sauced every night, but I go out and I like to drink a little bit of tequila. You know, heaven forbid. When
you say you drank during this prep,
yeah,
you know, you go by Higher Up Wellness on social media. I go by Daddy Wellness. I do a bit more drinking on my content. You don't showcase the boozing as much, but you've spoken about it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about drinking and wellness, and how do you incorporate it into your marathon prep or just in general, like in your life? Did you have a time where you were like really heavy drinking and you've kind of balanced it out? How's that been drinking throughout your fitness journey?
Yeah, I mean, I drank heavily throughout college, like any college kid does. That was when I went from fat to fit initially, and I drank all throughout my weight loss journey. Now, I always say getting fit is not about being miserable or suffering. It's simply about raising your awareness to how certain things either serve the purpose you're chasing or don't. Fast food, calorically dense foods are not necessarily good or bad, but they don't serve the purpose of a weight loss journey as well as whole natural foods would, right? Alcohol, I don't view it as like a good or bad thing necessarily. It's a neutral, but be aware there are consequences and opportunity costs if you consume alcohol. It's basically empty calories in the form of it doesn't provide any satiety. There's no nutrients in it. You obviously don't feel good. You increase your risks of diseases and things down the road, but all things in moderation. And I am of the belief that if you want to have a couple cocktails now and then, and you're not doing it because you're on a fitness journey or you're not going out with your friends, then fitness isn't serving the purpose it's supposed to. And in my opinion, getting fit should only add value to your life and do nothing else. And if it's starting to detract from your life, you're doing something wrong. So for me, it's just about balancing when I go out. I don't get washed or absolutely hammered anymore because it just doesn't serve a purpose. I have a couple, let the dopamine flow a little bit, loosen up the conversation, and then I just kind of ride that buzz. And that's That's my happy medium. But I will say, I don't know if it's from previous damage done, but I do not bounce back like I used to, man. Like I get pretty banged up the following day, so I'm knocking it back even more.
That's crazy that you bring that up. I mean, you're only a couple years older than me. You're 27, right?
Yeah.
When you turn 28?
I just turned 27.
Oh, yeah, right. Your birthday was last
month.
And I started feel like freshman, sophomore year of college, like it was straight weekend warrior, like no problem. You know what I mean? No matter if you drank 8, 10 drinks on the weekend, partying, could bounce right back, do some zone 2 cardio the next day, hit the sauna, get some cold water exposure, eat a good meal, slam caffeine, and I was back.
Fine.
But I've definitely felt, I mean, I'm a year almost out of college, but like you can definitely feel a little bit more of that kick hit you. And if you want to stay dialed in most of the year, I mean, always, then you really got to balance it out. What has it felt like since like, what's that feeling that you felt of the liquor hitting a little bit harder?
Yeah, I was talking to my friend about this. Like, why is it that at 21 I could go out and get blacked until 2 a.m. and then wake up at 7 a.m. and go to work and be like, that never happened. And now if I have 6 drinks and I sleep till 9 a.m., I feel like I get hit by a bus. I don't know what's happening, but I've decided, number one, if you really are crazy serious about your health, obviously there is no amount of alcohol that's good for you or that serves any sort of health promoting purposes, not even a glass of wine. That's all bullshit. But for me, like right now, you said I'm on prep. I'm pretty dialed with my nutrition, my training, and my recovery. I will typically place a day of drinking after a long run following a rest day. And when I say rest day, I don't mean vegetating on the couch like a lot of people do. A lot of people get hungover or have a rest day period. And that means rest. That means don't do anything. That's bullshit. I'm still hitting my steps. I'm getting in a sweat in some form or fashion to counteract the effects of booze. But for me, it's just all about planning. Like if you fail to plan, you can plan to fail. And so if I plan my booze, I eat a little lighter during the day. I focus on protein. When I go out and I do drink, I'm sticking to tequila. I notice I feel better on tequila. You did get me on the TSLs. I can't even lie.
Let's go, baby.
I can't even lie.
Let's go.
And if I'm eating, another mistake people make is they'll be on a health kick and then they'll booze and then they'll eat like shit on top of it. Pick one or the other. Do not do both.
Yes.
Do not get the cheeseburger and fries with the beer. That's stupid. Pick one.
You said something pretty interesting right there. So you said that after a long run, after a rest day, or is it after your long run that you have a booze day? Because
after a long run following a rest day tomorrow.
Okay, that's a great point because, you know, one of the things that I think took me a while to realize is that your rest day will get completely compromised if you train really hard, then you go out to drink that night, and then the next day that you planned on rest is the day you're a little bit hungover. I mean, your sleep got destroyed, you're dehydrated, your appetite is through the roof. And so you're kind of destroying your rest day as well. So you'll plan for after a rest day.
Yeah, so that's such a good point. Also, I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm not recommending people do the thing that I do, but this is what works for me. It will be Saturday, run 15 miles, rehydrate, recover, eat a nutrient-dense meal, bounce back from the run. And then I'll probably go out that evening. It's college football season. That's big where I live in Georgia. So we're going to go watch the Dogs play. I'm going to booze. I'm going to booze. I don't care. And in doing that, the next day I wake up, I'm tired from the run, and there's a hangover compounded. You're so right. But you power through that. I always say you got to kick the hangover in the teeth before it kicks you in the teeth. So if you just get up, hydrate with electrolytes, and go for a walk in the sunshine and just get the momentum rolling and don't vegetate in your bed, then you're more likely to be all right. And then it's straight into a deep sweat, either a light jog just because it's hot, or normally it's a sauna, into an ice bath, into a nutrient-dense meal, and just hit my steps for the day. And I feel okay. I feel fine.
And just for a little bit of context for some of the people who are watching that may not know you, you've been training now for about 10 years, right? I mean, tell us a little bit about your journey since, you know, you decided to make this change in your life where, you know, health is everything.
Yeah. So around 19 or 20, I hit a rock bottom point. I've been self-conscious about my body and my physique and how I looked since, well, as long as I can remember. Being a kid at the pool, I was the one who didn't want to take my shirt off. I was always just pudgy and soft. You can relate to this. You were a fat kid too. And
same thing for me.
Yeah, we were talking about that. You always think about it, and that's not healthy. Like looking back on it, I can't believe I let 10-year-old me worry about that. That makes me sad. But the point is, I hit a breaking point, and I tell this story all the time. Lucas, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell it again. The point for me where I finally hit my fuck it moment, the moment where you're saying, no matter how uncomfortable this change is going to be, I'm going to do it. Because that's why people can't change. You don't want to change because change is scary and change is painful. And you won't change until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing. And I had really let myself go freshman year of college. I was drinking like a sailor and eating like a D1 athlete, and I was neither of those things. And I ballooned up and gained like 45 pounds in 8 months. Pure body fat, had a buzz cut, neck beard. It was a bad time. And I remember...
No, hold up. The buzz cut,
Bro,
neck beard, and a fucking beer belly.
Yeah, check the before photo on my Instagram.
We'll pop it up right here.
Yeah, you can look at the before photo. It's rough. And if anyone wants to know, like, what's the easiest thing I can do to get better looking, just get fit. Because I went from a strong 3 to a strong 5 when I got leaner. And anyway, the point is, I was in a basement at a party, and I was leaving the room, and my buddy Lucas, who you know, didn't know that I was there. He thought I had left, and I overheard him say, "Damn, smoke is getting big."
No.
Yeah. And like Peter Crone says, words can only hurt you to the degree that you believe they are true. And it was true, and it hurt, but it got me to move. And there's this whole movement now on the internet of like, oh, love yourself. Oh, you shouldn't feel ashamed. Fuck that. I think shame is a great catalyst for movement. And it's not the motivator you use forever, but I was so ashamed of where I was at that it got me started. And it sent me on this journey of figuring out, first it was the bro split and it was the bro diet. And then I found a few creators that simplified things on YouTube. And then I lost the weight. I lost 55 pounds in 10 months, got in the gym 3 days a week, hitting my steps, the basic stuff that you know, got really lean, went from 230 to 170, got shredded, but I had no muscle. And then it just became that I was addicted to feeling as good as possible. I liked who I showed up as, how I felt, how I thought. Everything was better when I was fitter and eating nutrient-dense foods. And from then it became about chasing health, and the aesthetics have just been a side effect.
When you talk about shame and you saying like fuck it, this whole thing about loving yourself and all that, but like shame is really what kind of kickstarts it. I mean, the same thing happened to me. I was like fucking, I was that guy too. I was like scared to fucking take my shirt off at like pool parties or do anything like that, and friends would fucking call me fat and shit. And like I was just like, dude, this is fucking awful.
Terrible.
Like I'm already fucking waking up and not proud of like who I see. You add that layer on top, and you're just like, it gets to the point where you need like, you just. Not that you need to, but you want to make that change so bad to see like what's on the other side of the, at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And you don't use shame forever, right? Like it gets you started. And then I always tell people, if shame is what got you started, fine, but you have to eventually eat and train because you love and respect your body, not because you hate it. Eventually that change has to occur. And that takes a long time. And some people have to organically go through that process themselves. And that's what I try to help my coaching clients with, is bypassing that sort of extended self-loathing, borderline disordered relationship with food. I teach them not to have relationships with food, but rather a perspective. We don't have relationships with food. We have relationships with people. Don't assign emotional value to food. And in doing that, I've just found the opportunity cost of eating like shit, drinking 3 or 4 days a week in excess. I can never picture myself existing. Like I don't even know who I was 8 years ago. I don't know that human being or how I lived in the world.
Yeah, that's 100%. It's genuinely like there's this. I always use this like metaphor of like there's this portal that you like break through. There's this like threshold that you kind of like tap into.
That's a great way to put it.
You build a habit. It's a feeling you can't describe. It's a feeling you can only feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell it to a lot of people that like in the beginning when you want to make a change, it's like you always feel that like super strong motivation in the beginning. Anytime you try something new, whether it's like playing a new sport or trying to learn an instrument or trying to build a business. In the beginning, you're super hyped up on this idea, but only the ones who make it past that like 3-month mark, 2-3 months, 4 months, even sometimes a month and a half. It's such little amount of time that at first it seems like so long.
Yeah.
But once you make it past it, it's like it's the feeling. It's really the feeling that that keeps you going.
It is. I say fitness is like a J curve. It's shaped like a J. You start here, and then the climb is super steep. It's straight up because you don't have results yet. You're fat. You're going to be fat for a little while. It's going to take time to see changes in the mirror. And you're confused. You learn about calories. You learn about protein. It's a lot. It's confusing. It's complicated at first. And you climb this steep, straight curve, and then you get to the top of the J, and it just levels out. You know calories, you know protein, you know whole foods, and it becomes intuitive. But most people give up before they can get to the top of that curve. And to your point, it's like a 6-week process. If you can find a sustainable approach to fitness and get through 6 to 8 weeks and learn to enjoy it and feel how good it feels to show up like that in the universe, you won't go back. At least the odds of it are slim.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I think someone told me recently, it's like everyone comes back to that workout routine or trying to get fit. And I don't know if you remember, but when you were going through that period where you're like, I'm going to make this change after you heard Lucas say what he said. Sorry, Lucas. You remember those days where, you'd be in the gym and you'd be searching up how to perform each movement or what the split was and what you were doing. That's some of the most frustrating periods where you're just spending an extra 45 minutes trying to learn a routine, trying to adapt to this new uncomfortable feeling. What were you doing? Like, do you remember what was going through your mind at that time? Or was it just, fuck it, we're going to go and I know it's going to get better? Or were you just tunnel vision? How was that going?
Well, this was where I found out that I have a tendency to hyperfixate horribly on things, but it's a superpower. When I get into something new, I obsess over it. And so all of my downtime was spent on YouTube fitness, watching guys like early Kino Body, Grego Gallagher, back when he was still just walking in his, mansion backyard talking about steps and protein. It was Christian Guzman, Thomas DeLauer, Will Tennyson. Like some of these guys, Will was just getting started back then, but I was just spending all my downtime watching that stuff, how to perform, and then I would go replicate it in the gym. But to your point, a lot of people, I feel, give up on fitness because their ego is far too big. I think that in order to be successful at anything, you have to embrace and accept that you suck at anything you start at first. Anyone who is the GOAT or the greatest or someone you aspire to be, whatever they started at that you enjoy or appreciate about them, they sucked at when it began. But they were able to remove the ego from the situation and accept that this is just part of the game. Life is a game. Getting fit is a game. I gamify everything I do. And if you can just accept, in the beginning I'm going to suck and that's okay. This is just a skill that I have to learn. Then you can make it a game and you can get good at it, learn the rules, and learn how to win.
Dude, the gamification metaphor as well is something I live by. You were would you say you were a bit of an extremist and like had a, somewhat of an addictive personality, like with things? I mean, you said that anytime you'd start something new, you would hyperfixate and just go crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm super tame and down the middle. No, I don't. Yeah, no, I fucking pick up running and I'm like, all right, now I got to sign up for a marathon. I can't just become a runner. Right?
I'm going to ask you a lot about running soon, but to your point, I think it's hilarious because, I mean, for me growing up, I played a lot of tennis. I told you, I grew up playing competitive tennis and stuff. And my tennis coach would always tell me, Rich, you need to chill out on the video games. I was addicted to video games, Call of Duty. I would play 8 to 10 hours a day.
Whoa.
Before I'd go to school, middle school, high school, wake up like an hour and a half early, get like 8 games in, ripping domination, just smashing people, shit talking with my mic on, yelling,
Modern Warfare
raging,
2?
crazy, COD 4 days. My dad would take me to like midnight release and shit because I was under 18 and help me get the game. Shout out my fucking dad, the boy. And my tennis coach would be like, dude, like the shit's getting in your head. You need to learn to find balance. And that was the first time someone ever in my life told me, they were like, bro, if you're not able to find balance, like you're gonna fucking face some serious demons.
Yeah.
And so what's funny is that every time I would get grounded by my parents or something while, in my early teens and stuff, they would take away video games. My mom would take away my power cable to my Xbox.
Really?
And every time she did, I was so fucking, what do I do? That I learned how to juggle. I literally became like near professional at yo-yoing. I've learned how to balance a broom on my fucking chin and like on my fingers. And then after multiple times of like getting grounded and her taking away that fixation, like playing video games, that dopamine craziness, I started going to the gym. And it wasn't until when I started going to the gym because I had nothing else to like give me that, I just became hooked on it. And I was
It's a superpower, dude.
Like, and at first I was like, oh wow, dude, this feels great. I'm getting fucking jacked. But it was that feeling that kept me showing up. That feeling of just like, whoa, dude, I feel fucking great. I mean, and throughout the whole journey, I mean, as for you, there's ups and downs and shit got really hard. But I mean, now you're what, 10 years into training and now you're deep into running now, right? How's running been?
I started running. I got inspired by like the Bear Performance, Nick Bear, hybrid athlete thing. And I don't call myself a hybrid athlete. I think it's
a bit of a hybrid athlete.
Yeah, I just think I'm just a guy who runs and lifts and makes videos on the internet. Like it's not. I don't think it's deeper than that. But I do both.
But you would be considered a hybrid athlete.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And
I consider myself a hybrid athlete, and I'm hitting the fucking Stairmaster and incline treadmill.
Dude, that's why I think you're gonna have such an easy time if you do a marathon. You're in way better cardio shape. You just have to get good at running.
Yeah.
You just suck at running, and that's because you don't do it, but you will be good at it. We're getting Richie to do a marathon.
I'm actually signing up for a fucking marathon. I've felt like he brought it up to me, and like this, I've done 2 triathlons, and like this feeling of like chasing a dragon. I don't know why that's what I feel like, but it's like knowing that day is gonna come. And like you need it, and like I'm not good at running.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm so happy you told me to do that. I'm fucking signing up. And,
Giving
you might come down and do it with me.
Oh, 100%. I'll run whatever you want to do, dude. I will come down here for sure. Miami in February, twist my fucking arm. But I think you're right. You need something to chase. I think that everyone benefits from doing shit that they suck at.
Yeah.
Because that's just how you build more confidence and stack more proof. That's you suck at something, you keep doing it, you get good at it, you become an authority on it. That's the only reason I have the page I have. I sucked at everything I do. I do now that I'm good at. I sucked at it when I started. Like the sales stuff. I was very successful at that in corporate America and in the sales program. But when I started, I was dog shit. Training, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like you're talking about, you don't know anything. But the more things you can start that you suck at, I started running because I hated it, to answer your question. And then I thought, wow, I need to get good at this. I need to run a sub 4-hour marathon. And I did. And now I remember when I crossed the finish line of the marathon, I'll never forget that feeling. I literally thought, I can do anything. I can do anything I set my mind to. And that's why I love running now. I hate the act of running. Like when we were out there this morning, I was in my head like, I don't want to fucking be here. I don't want to do this right now. It's so hot. My legs are heavy. But the person that you are on the other side of doing shit that kind of scares you or is really uncomfortable is the version of yourself that you're supposed to be. And too many fucking people, I'm not trying to get preachy, but this is really what I believe. Like too many people are just floating. That's the real reason I changed, man. Like I was so fucking tired of just floating through my life and living an unconsciously incompetent life. I was an average athlete. I was below average in school. My friends at the time were like, he's the idiot friend. They always called me a dumbass and a moron. And like, I was just tired of being perceived that way. It's like, and now, so it's like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go balls to the wall in it. And life is so much better when you're a tryhard. So much better.
Try hard, baby. A sweat bag.
Yes, bro. Having everything you do.
And I'm not even a runner, but I've spent a good amount of time binge watching Nick Bear and a ton of the other hybrid guys. And, you know, Nick did a video a while back where he talked about how running made him appreciate solitude so much more. And that shit hit me really hard because, I mean, I've always been an extremely social person that loves to always be around people. And over the last couple of years, I began to embrace a lot more solitude and being on my own. And in the little, you know, short terms where I got into running, training for the triathlon, and even just like, you know, getting on the assault bike a couple times a week for an hour and just pushing it, like you learn so much about yourself when you're pushing that fucking envelope to the max. And it's funny because you said, like, when you said that today, we're like, yo, you should sign up for another marathon. I've been kind of like hearing a little bit of that, like, you know, you kind of like, you know, when you're training hard, but you're not actually like training hard as fuck. I feel like that's where you really learn about yourself. Have you had any like wow moments over the last 3 years, like on runs or in training, that just makes you appreciate it so much more? Or any takeaways from it?
Yeah, the running community and the ultra running community calls it the pain cave. Like when you're in that moment, you know, for a marathon, for most people, it's mile 19. Mile 19, the marathon, you're like, I don't know if I can do this.
I'm not going to forget when you said that just now. When
I'm starting to cramp. That's when people bonk or they hit the wall. Like that's when, in my marathon, I saw people cramping, falling off the side of the road, like starting to walk. When you get into that moment, it's something that only the physiological state of extended endurance exercise can put you in. Breath work, cold, sauna, it just can't do it. Nothing like running for 3 fucking hours straight puts your brain into this weird meditative state. And that is, to your point, where you learn so much about yourself and what you're made of. And ultimately where you learn, I believe, 2 things. Number 1, that you can do anything you set your mind to if you stack proof, if you can prove to yourself that you can do hard shit that scares you. And number 2, an unwavering sense of confidence. Like you develop unbelievable confidence in yourself. And I think that's something that's missing in most people. Like the reason that you're able to do what you do and amass the massive audience that you have is because you have confidence and self-belief at the end of the day, because you have proof. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned are the wow moments of running and cross-training over the last 3 years is like 19, 20 mile of my marathon and mile 30 of my ultra was like, I've never felt a pain like that. And I was having to go out loud. I was having to say, can you take one more step? Yes. Can you take one more step? Yes. Like picking my legs up. It was horrible. No headphones for 6 hours. It was like a deep meditative pain cave experience. And that's where I learned, like in the moments in life I am uncomfortable elsewhere, I lean on moments like that to get me through them.
Have you ever cried like during one of these training sessions?
Dude, no.
Or shed a tear?
There's one workout. I have a theory, and anyone who's in the endurance space maybe relates to this. This is my theory. If you do a prep for an endurance race, there's always one workout that you'll never fucking forget, dude. And it's like, it's the workout where you're out there and it's a 2.5 hour run, and 10 minutes in, you're like, this is going to be bad. Like, this is not good. And for me, it was a 17-mile run in Savannah, Georgia, brutally hungover. And it was on, and it was on a 1 mile loop. So I did this loop 17 times. And it was 90 fucking degrees, and it was miserable. And like 20 minutes in the run, I was like, this is horrible. And so like moments like that, like that's one of the most memorable. If I can get through this, I can do anything.
Anything.
And that's translated to other hard shit in life, personal stuff, family stuff. Like hard things are hard things. And if you prove to yourself you can do hard things, when life throws non-elected challenges at you, you will be better equipped to handle them. I firmly believe that.
I had one of those workouts as well, dude. I don't know why this
Here,
workout.
while you're talking about this, give me your
Yeah, get another TSL. Come on. Oh shit. Yeah, there's a couple of limes right there. Dude, there's just one workout that I had. It was. I don't know why I remember it so vividly, but my dad put an assault bike on the balcony of his apartment during the pandemic, and I remember I was going through a tough time during lockdowns, just like with anxiety and panic attacks and shit. And I started hitting the assault bike for an hour every other day, and like pushing like wattage that I could never push. Like, I haven't been able to push since. Where it was like putting like 240 watts for an hour and shit, and like heart rate near fucking max zone 3-4 just for an hour long. And I remember like this voice would just always attack me at minute 45, where it was like, "You're done, buddy. You can't keep going. There's nothing you can do that's gonna make you finish this session." And there was one day, bro, where I heard that shit, and I was like, "Nope, you gotta scream louder. You gotta try a bit more, because I'm gonna keep fucking swinging my arms and pedaling this fucking assault bike." And I saw this like breakthrough where it's like, I call it like this nitrous oxide tank in you that like everyone has in them that they can like tap into, that just keep you fucking going, that when you think you're done, you can actually keep going.
That's it.
Bro, I cried on the fucking assault bike. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
It's like an emotional release.
I chase that feeling, bro. I've been I chase that, like, I've had it a couple times, but that time was the most like profound moment of just like, holy shit, your mind is, if you can control the mind, you can control everything.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy, bro, that you said like sign up for a marathon, do something like that, because I haven't had a moment like that in a bit.
Yeah,
and it only happens when you truly fucking push it, bro. When you truly put it's I don't know how to describe it, bro, but I'll never forget that day. And I mean, I've had those moments a couple other times, and it only happens during cardio, not lifting, but when you're fucking deep in that shit, you know.
That's why that's why I think endurance is so special. I remember, cheers, brother. I remember like
Second
you calling
TSL,
me.
Higher up and I are fast pacing out here.
What are we like 20 minutes? How far into the show are we? 30 minutes, 2 drinks. That's not bad. I have a drinking problem. I seriously have and I don't mean a...
Yo, chill.
No, I don't mean a drinking alcohol problem. I mean I have a problem with drinking beverages.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
When they're in front of me, I just fucking... if it's water, Coke, I don't drink Coke. Diet Coke, tequila, it doesn't beer. Like, I just drink things when they're in front of me way too fast.
I have an addiction to cold beverages. Forget tequila. I love tequila.
You've had something cold in your hand since I got here.
Yeah, I had a fucking CZ at 10:30 a.m. today after a run. I had to. Yeah, the cold beverage is unmatched.
Oh yeah,
I just love it, and that's I think. I mean, to your point, like these TSLs, man, they just start flowing like a little fucking rascal.
I feel like I'm in an airport right now. Like, time doesn't exist right now. I don't know what's going on outside, but all I know is I'm drinking here. But yeah, dude, you're right, man. The feeling that you get from endurance, that feeling on the other side of my gas tank is empty, and then you realize, oh, I'm only 60% empty, is a high that, like, my grandfather used to say something, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. That's that phenomenon. Like, you can only share that moment with people who have been there. Dude, I remember you calling me a few times. You're like, I'm on the assault bike. I'm like, oh, how far in are you? Like 51 minutes. I'm like, dude, on a bike? That's demonic work. Like, that's a crazy thing to do for an hour, just staring off a balcony.
I don't know. I mean, but the thing is, the view's pretty nice at my pops' place. You can see the ocean and shit. So I felt like I would have this like feeling where it's like I would get so high into the fucking ride. I just felt like I was like cruising on top of the clouds, and I was like, nothing can fucking stop me. All these positive like self-belief voices just to come in and fucking strengthen you, and it's a crazy feeling, man. I wish everyone could feel it. I mean, I think everyone can feel it.
Everyone does have the ability to feel it, but not everyone's willing to go there. You know, Goggins says when you're done, you're like 70% done, 60% done.
What do you think of Goggins? Bro, he's a little bit of a fucking weirdo, I'm not gonna lie. Like, with all due respect, like, he's a legend.
Yeah.
The last time I saw him pull up to one of these UFC fights, he literally looked like he was a fucking robot. He was like,
no, he's different. Like, he's
him and
borderline.
Zuckerberg kind of give me the same vibes.
He's probably a mix of on the spectrum with severe, you know, inferiority complex. But regardless, I love him. You know, I love what he has to say. I love his story. But he's just different. Like, you need people like that in the world.
You do.
You need the yangs to balance out the yins. You wouldn't have a Goggins without the soft ass motherfuckers out there telling you to love yourself if you're 500 pounds and don't change anything.
Yeah, that's full extreme.
Yeah, those are either ends of the spectrum. You need both of them. You can't have one without the other, so we can exist somewhere in the middle. And I'm all about, like, I'm all about the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. Sometimes, people go through fucked up shit. They have horrible trauma, terrible circumstances. But there comes a time where you either fucking live in your circumstances and you're justified in that, or you figure it out and you do well in spite of them. Like Hormozy has this great thing where he says, the fact of the matter, unfortunately, is someone in a worse position than you is doing it better than you right now. So at the end of the day, what is your excuse? Like, why are you bitching? Why are you continuing to fulfill this self-fulfilling prophecy and this cycle of self-hate and not doing anything and not making any changes? I think it's so problematic. More people need to accept that the sooner they can take, like, I don't know how I got on this, but accountability and ownership for their life, the sooner they can change their life. No matter what circumstances they come from, you can always make it at least marginally better.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a mid-20s white dude who grew up in the suburbs. Like, yeah, I get that I have a fucking skewed perspective, but this is also coming from a guy who literally hated himself for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I hated myself. My self-talk was horrible. And I just started talking to myself differently, and then I started showing up differently.
That's how it is. That's incredible. I want to circle back a little bit to like the hybrid athlete spectrum, because I don't know about you, but I'm always...
You saying I'm on the spectrum?
No, I'm talking about the hybrid. Maybe. I think we both might be a little bit.
Perchance.
A lot of people think I am. I did a poll on my story a while back where it was like, someone DM'd me, they're like, yo, you're definitely on the spectrum. And I did a poll and it was like 80 to fucking 85-15. Everyone thinks I'm a bit on the tism, which is chill. I mean, I think
if that's the case, it's our superpower.
I low-key took a test afterwards, and if you get above a 30 on this test, you're on it. I wasn't on it, but I was close to 20, which is fine. But
just nicked you on the way out.
But talking about hybrid athletes and stuff, I'm always watching all different types of trends in fitness. Right now we have carnivore, right, which is through the roof, which I think is pretty dope. Saladino, a lot of these other guys.
Those guys are good.
Animal-based. And I think like we're really seeing like strong trends emerge in the wellness space. The hybrid athletes are pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to put any of them on blast, but I follow a lot of them. They follow me back. A lot of you motherfuckers, I'm sorry if I'm characterizing you.
No. You don't have to lump me with those goons.
They don't show the full picture. I get a lot of DMs of Zinnichinos and Diet Cokes and slamming tequilas, and these guys are ripping fucking ultra marathons, 100-mile runs, and all this different shit. What are your thoughts on that? I think the running community and the hybrid community overall, even with like gear usage and all these different things, is... I don't think people are seeing the full picture.
No.
A lot, and I'm not trying to.
No, you're right. And that's why I'm trying to give the whole picture. Like, first off, the running community, a lot of those people are drinkers. Like, Courtney DeWalter is the best ultra marathoner on the planet, and she's the first one I heard use the term pain cave. But she crushes 100 milers, 200 milers. She like crushes beer and eats nachos. She doesn't have a concept of nutrition. She's just a savage. But there are people that are running a low dose of gear and not being honest about it, right? Running a little test, but saying they're natty. Not saying they live this straight edge lifestyle. And that's where I think there's a fucking gap in the market for people like you. Like, that's where you come in, and that's why I think one of the billion reasons that you crush is you're like, hey, I have a good physique. I have my shit together with my nutrition. I sleep well, but I will go out and I will get washed, and I will not feel bad about it. But I won't fucking feel bad about it. I'm going to have a good time, and fuck you if you think it's a problem. Like, I made the video about the Oreo Coke Zero that irrationally blew up. It was ridiculous. And so many people were like, I can't believe this guy has wellness in his username and he's promoting poison. Like, dude, get bent. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The picture I'm trying to paint here is there are a lot of creators that, to your point, don't give the whole picture. They show like strict animal-based 9 hours of sleep, but they go out, they get hammered. Maybe they're pinning something in their butt cheek. And I think that there's a gap in the market for true transparency, and that like a lot of those people aren't relatable. People view them as like this faraway entity. And I think it's why guys like you step in and they crush it, is because they're like, yo, you can actually have your cake and eat it too. You can be pretty jacked, you can run, you can lift, and you can go get hammered with your boys or your girls.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's where we're seeing a massive shift in the entire social media internet space, where people are just tired of the fake shit, brother. You know what I mean? Like, they want to see the real shit. They're tired of all this fucking hyper-edited Lightroom craziness, unrealistic things that you're not getting the full picture. And then, for me, it was just kind of just like, I'm just going to show you, a couple spotlights of my day-to-day. We've happened to get in pretty decent shape. I feel good, proud of, what I've built, and you can do it through balance.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people are just like kind of scared to preach that message, but you do it a lot too, which is awesome. And bringing it back to that point, I mean, you know, you made a big change a couple of years ago or not even, like a year and a half ago, when you chose to fucking go in on social media. You worked in private equity for 3 years, right? Taking the full corporate route. You still feel pretty connected to it, right? When it comes to sales, public speaking, and networking and all those things. Like, what happened, bro? Like, how did you make that jump? How did you just say fuck it? Because I can't imagine the amount of pressure, like from family or friends, and this extremely, you know, you're taking a route where it's like very secure, right? You work your fucking ass off for, you know, 10, 20 years, hoping that things can work out. And you said, fuck it, I'm gonna fucking roll the dice, bud. I'm gonna chase my passion. I'm gonna pursue and see what happens. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, dude. Also, you were totally right about staring at these fucking wall paints for too long. It feels a little crazy when you're
you get a little hypnotized.
Yeah.
I kind of fucked up, guys. We had installed some panels in this office, the ones you can see behind, but the ones on the side of the walls are like vertical and horizontal.
I need to like look at this table for a minute, dude. I feel like, did you spike my thesis with fucking psilocybin or something, bro? I was like, why is the wall breathing right now?
The wall is breathing. I mean, it's every time I've done an episode, I'm like 30 minutes in, I'm like, fuck, dude, these walls are kind of fucking.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the table for a minute. But yeah, the corporate. So I guess a little bit about my story briefly from college on. So I'm 27, so I graduated college May of 2020, and I graduated with a bachelor's of business administration and professional selling, which is basically a marketing degree with a focus in sales. So we did sales call role plays with real VPs, real general managers, and do we need to stop?
No.
Someone knocked on the door.
Hello? Moose, what the fuck is going on?
We'll be right back after these messages.
Sorry about that, guys.
Jeez, damn.
Sorry for an interruption, guys. We were talking about
Corporate.
yeah. Like, you took the leap.
Yeah. And I've gotten
And
a
you
lot
took
of
it
questions.
3 years in, man.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of questions about like, how do I quit my corporate job and chase this dream? It's like, I don't know. I didn't have a fucking plan. I just did it. I think the biggest lesson I learned from that was that stoic quote, "We suffer more in our imagination than in reality." I thought it was going to be this terrible, anxiety-inducing thing. I agonized over the decision. My gut was telling me to quit for so much longer than I should have let it dwell. But ultimately, graduated with a degree in professional sales, was fortunate enough to be the top student in that program and the third-ranked student in the country out of all the programs. So I did really well there, which set me up with an awesome job that probably was beyond what I deserved, making great money in outside sales. Then I moved into not necessarily private equity directly, but I worked for a small firm that consulted private equity firms on how to consolidate their tech stack after big mergers and acquisitions. So company comes in, they buy 400 locations of a Dollar General or something, and we consolidate their cyber, their IT, and everything. We were consultants. I did that for a very brief time. So the way that it worked out was college, corporate route, big corporate guy. I was crushing it in my job at this small company in Norcross, Georgia, selling IT and cybersecurity. I then go to a conference, do a sales role play in front of a bunch of people with the former director of cybercrime for the FBI, and I won that competition, which had led a guy to come up to me and go, "Hey, I really liked what you did out there. Are you looking for a job?" I was there representing my company, and I was like, "Well, not really, but I'm always open to the conversation." Quick tip for you guys in corporate America: always be open to the conversation. You never know what opportunity could await. Don't be loyal to companies and corporations because they aren't loyal to you. It's just a game, like everything else. Point is, took the interview, crazy interview process, landed the job, worked there for a whole 15 days before I quit. Literally 15 business days, and then I scheduled an appointment with my boss, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to quit to make TikTok videos." And he went, "What the fuck are you talking about? That's crazy." Tried to get me not to. I did anyway. So that's, in a nutshell, the story.
Had you ever made a video before?
About that story?
Had you ever made a video on TikTok about fitness and
good
wellness?
question. No, yeah, to just dive in. I started making content the last week of February or the first week of March of 2023. I quit my job July 28th, 2023. So April, May, June, 3.5, 4 months later. And I agonized over it. And honestly, the way that the story goes, not to get too long-winded, I'll cut this quickly, but my best friend's dad was diagnosed with leukemia. And it's a guy who has all the success in the world, renowned sports psychologist, wrote a book, made a bunch of money, done really well for himself. And then he got sick and everything stopped. And he had to spend 30 days in the bone marrow transplant unit in isolation in that hospital. And I went to see him on like day 18. And I just asked him, "What's the most valuable lesson you've learned since you've been in here? Like, how have things changed?" And he said two things. He said, number one, I could have been nicer to people. Could have been nicer to the service workers, the people at the cash register, those little human interactions we have. And number two, life's too short to not do exactly whatever the fuck it is you want to do. He looked me dead in the face while he was saying that with cancer drugs going into his arm. He had no idea that I was wrestling horribly with, do I quit my job and chase this dream, not knowing how I'm going to make money or make a living, or do I stay with a cushy corporate six-figure gig that is sucking the life out of me? I hadn't told him that. So for him to look me in the face and say that, I booked a meeting with my boss the next day and I quit. And it's been a blessing. Obviously, I wouldn't fucking be here with you if I didn't do that. But I think it comes down to the fact that I believed in myself. And to circle back to what I said, it's because I've done hard things. It's like if I can run 26 miles, I can figure out how to make money on the internet. Like, I've done hard things. I can do this. I can figure this out. And that's the story.
That's fucking crazy. That conversation really had a big impact, huh?
Crazy. I'll never forget it. I'm giving a presentation to a business school next week at Georgia State, and that quote is in there. Like, it's in aphorisms to live by. I'm a big fan of aphorisms, quotes that are punchy, short, but often have a bigger meaning for life. And that quote, it's not by Socrates or some fucking stoic, but I will never forget him telling me that. And it's a huge part of the reason I'm sitting here with you right now, which I think is fucking crazy.
And you would say you're much happier since you, like, I mean, how would you even scale your level of fulfillment and happiness when you were doing, you know, taking that traditional route? And how many people do you think actually hear that voice or feel that feeling of like, fuck, man, I have a passion that I wish I could pursue, but I'm scared and I shouldn't do it because I don't know what can happen?
So many people.
You think there's a lot? I don't know how many people feel that shit, though, to be quite honest. Like, I genuinely don't. I feel like the voice, because like for me, it was like I had a siren going off in my head.
Yeah.
And sometimes I even feel like hesitant to even share about it because it's just like, bro, it hasn't even been 2 years since I started doing this. Like, I mean, a lot of things have been accomplished and stuff, but like I had a siren going off in my head.
Well, this isn't for everybody. I mean, what we do.
No, of course, but I'm saying like it seems like, you know, it really needs to get loud. It needs to get uncomfortable. It needs to get to the point where it's like you can't turn, like, you know, when you try and when you have these intrusive thoughts or whatever thoughts that you don't want to listen to and you try and push them away, they're going to speak louder to you.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things that, you know, if when you're dealing with anxiety or anything like that and you like try and fight it, it's going to fucking come even hotter at you.
Exactly.
And so I fucking felt that when I quit my job. I mean, I was still in college, but I was working an internship in like growth equity and shit. And I literally didn't even tell them, to be quite honest, like why I just told them, listen, like, you know, I have something else happening and I'm not showing up. And honestly, at this point, I maybe should have been a bit more transparent. But I didn't have a conversation. I just felt it.
Did they know you were doing that daddy wellness stuff at the time, that firm you were working with? Because that was when you and I first met in Manhattan. You were working that internship.
What's crazy, bro, is that they all knew. And I never shared it. I was like,
Well, of course they all knew. You're all over the fucking internet.
It was like a duality that I was living in, bro. And I started having this like thought in my head where I was like, I can't live these two personas. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to do. And I'm a big believer in that, you know, you can't dig too many holes at once. You got to pick a fucking alley and you got to hammer it like a fucking animal.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that was right before my final semester of college. And I was just like, fuck it.
Wait, let's talk about that. That's good advice. So I've become a believer in this too. I love that you just said that. There's people who, like, when it comes to building wealth, diversify, do a lot of things. But then I always hear like super rich people say, fuck that advice. You want to get really rich, you want to be really successful, focus on something. You want to feel fulfilled, focus on something. So what was that like for you? Did you decide like, I need to go all in on daddy wellness, I need to dig this hole to the freaking mantle of the earth?
I say, like, the way I explain it every time is that for me, it's these voices in my head, and it sounds kind of like scary and shit. But I started Daddy Wellness in 2019, and I was like, I had a voice in my head that was kind of telling me like, yo, you know, you're passionate about fitness. You've made a change in your life. You're happier than you've ever been. I feel like I need to tell other people that can relate to this, that you too can feel this way. And so I started making a couple videos, stopped for 2 years, went to college, started working, you know, these different jobs in investment consulting and growth equity. And during that time, you know, I was making content on finance with a business I had started in college. And during that whole time, I was enjoying, you know, kind of getting my feet wet, making videos online. I always loved making videos on the internet. And I just wasn't doing it about something that I genuinely, truly loved. I like finance, I like business, I like investing and all those different types of things, but I didn't love it. It wasn't my life. My life has always been like, you know, let's grind, let's fucking be fit, let's feel good, and let's live a balanced lifestyle, and let's make fucking people laugh and share, you know, funny things and entertainment. And bro, I don't know how else to put it, but it was really just like this siren going off in my head. It was a siren. The voice was so fucking loud in my head that was like 2023 mid-year. It was just like, bro, like, you love this shit. This is something you want to do. This is something you can do. And I know you can do it. I know you can figure it out if you just put in the work and see what happens. Because I kind of got a hint of that when I was making videos, finance videos. I made videos for 11 months, finance videos. And
You built a little bit of an internet following doing something totally different than you're doing now, right?
yeah, my friend who originally ran the finance account got it up to like 150K, and then I ran it up to like 220K, and I started seeing I started learning about the internet and like what it takes to make good footage and good content and good things, like, you know, just good entertainment videos on short form. And I was like, what would happen if I fucking came back to my roots and I used some of these things that I learned to really share what I love?
Yeah.
It's going to be so much easier if I can talk about the things I love. And dude, just one day I couldn't, it was a fucking like, wah, 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 just nonstop in my head. And I was like, I have to do this.
Well, the pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of changing.
Yeah.
That's
I was
what
like, I have to do this. I have 1 year left of college, and like, I don't see myself. I see myself doing this. Hammered it, and fucking
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
2 million people later.
You know?
Well, that's to answer your question.
But you know, it's as great as it's been. You know what I mean? It's as amazing as everything has been, and it really gives you reassurance on, like, if you believe and if you hear that voice and if you go and you really go, then you can see a lot of things change. You know, there's always those moments, bro, where like you get scared, man. Like, you question it, like, once you're in it. Like, there are multiple times fucking since that day, June 23rd or June 15th of 2023, where I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? I'm really in this now, you know? And like,
It's surreal.
it's surreal, bro. And it requires a lot of mental toughness. And so back to your point, I do want to, I mean, my mental toughness has always been strong, but, you know, I think something like that marathon or something like that, you have to do shit, bro, that really puts you in that fucking, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you have to do shit that scares you. Jesse Itzler, who we talked about yesterday, is a prominent Atlanta entrepreneur, talks about how important it is that every year he has a Misogi. And a Misogi is a Japanese practice or principle that basically says you endure some sort of great challenge so long and so grandiose that it defines you or changes you in some way. And so I pick a Misogi every year. And that's where, like, a marathon could be a Misogi for you. It's this thing that you think, like, holy fuck, I got to run 26 miles. That's scary. For me, 2022 was the marathon, then the ultra, then the 5-minute mile for the world record, which we broke. Guinness World Record holder right here, respectfully. Subtle flex. And I think that, you would crush in something like that. But one of the things I want to touch on that you said is, I think more people than you think or I even think or that we realize have that voice, and they bury it every day. So someone listening to this, let it be a sign. If you have that voice that's telling you to do the thing and you're ignoring it and sticking with the route that's conventional that people told you to do, fuck that. Life is too short to not do exactly what the fuck you want to do. So do the thing. Because if we didn't listen to the siren going off in our head, you would not have this badass podcast studio that you built out. Congratulations, by the way. I hope you have taken so much time to, like, appreciate what the fuck you've built, because it's awesome. And you've motivated me. I was telling a friend yesterday, like, this has motivated me and inspired me to be like, number one, hook me up with your LED sign guy, because I need that shit. And number two, to do something like this. Like, this is, fortune favors the bold. You listen to your voice, you did the thing, but fortune favors the bold for real when they put the work in. And if you back that crazy thing, that voice that you're scared to listen to, with work and inputs that create value and make the world a better place, the universe will pay you back in spades, as it has with you, as it has with me and so many other creators. I think that people forget, like, we're just fucking two dudes that didn't want to give up on our dreams and took a risk on ourselves. And that's the only difference between me now and me a year ago, was like, I started listening to the voice in my head.
And I mean, what does that voice tell you now? Like, where are you seeing things? You know, I mean, we talk a lot about, like, where this whole internet thing is going and content creation and this whole fucking crazy world. I mean, what do you think about it generally? Like, because, I mean, we love each other's content. I feel like we're a bit more, you know, filtered with what we consume when we can. I mean, sometimes I'm watching some dog shit. Like, some of the shit out there is just terrible. I personally hate mukbang content like nothing else.
Oh, that's triggering.
And I
for
get
me.
caught in that shit. Today we're eating fucking 8 crumble cookies. And I'm just looking at it and I'm just like, why is this so entertaining? And like, I'm just like, oh, it's the internet is a fucking crazy space, man.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's been one of my motivations, to create shit that is actually like, you know, or that's biased. You know, people who make mukbang videos will have their say on my shit, but
No, I'll double down. Fuck mukbangs.
Everyone to each their own.
Fuck mukbangs.
But what are your thoughts, bro, on like everything going on the internet right now? Like, just generally, like the type of content that you're consuming, the type of creators. Like, where do you think? I mean, dude, you are crushing it.
Well, thank you.
On TikTok Shop, on your content, your TikTok. By the way, Michael and I are on a competition which is eating me alive from the day to day. No, I'm kidding. It's not eating me alive, but it's a friendly competition. First one to get to 1 million on TikTok.
This is your idea, by the way, and I'm
This is
smoking
my idea.
your ass.
This is my idea, and I'm getting smoked after being way ahead of him.
So far ahead of me.
So far ahead. And honestly, nothing makes me happier. But I mean, bro, where do you think we're headed? Like, what do you like if TikTok disappears anytime soon with all this crazy shit? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried. I know I'll pivot and I'll figure it out. So TikTok is definitely between views and shop, because I only sell 2 things on TikTok: my magnesium supplements and the occasional EcoVision creatine. Like, I sell stuff that I use every day and I believe in, and I'll never put anything else out to my audience, because I'm hyper aware of the longevity of the brand, like you are. Careful about who you partner with, and if you're partnering with them, you're using the product. And my product literally has my logo on it. It says higher up, so like I believe in it. But it's a sizable income stream. It's a big way I make a living. And so, you know, if TikTok goes away, there's obviously nothing I can do to control that. So why the fuck would I get angry about it? I can't change it. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to whoever the president will be in November. That's silly. But for me, it'll just be about creating value in different channels, diversifying, not being afraid to reinvent yourself. I think something that some of my creator friends get too worked up about is they think they have to exist in this lane. I was talking about this with some of the EcoVision guys last time I was in Texas. They're making the same style of video so many times. They're like, bro, like, I wish I could. Someone was saying, like, I wish I could do what you do, where you just talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm like,
You can.
You can. You are literally imprisoning yourself to your own content. Try something new. And I think that personally, a lot of those guys are also facing some growth challenges in their pages. Like, I think the ability to put out whatever you want is what keeps your growth going, because it hits you. It hits different parts of the algorithm. It hits different audiences. One day I'll wake up and I'll feel convicted to talk about sales. And one day I'll wake up convicted to talk about public speaking. And then for a week, I'll talk about fitness. But I think, and I heard this from, you know who Rick Rubin is?
No.
Rick Rubin is a creative director, artist. He was on the Huberman Lab. He's been on Joe Rogan, I think. He's been on Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson, basically the 3 top podcasts in the world.
Is Chris Williamson up there?
Oh, yeah. He's in the top.
I mean, I know he's huge, but is he
He's
up there?
definitely in the top 10 in the world. And I just hit top 10 in the U.S., respectfully. No.
Let's go.
You're
top 10 in the U.S. on Spotify.
Yeah. On Spotify, yeah. Yeah, for health and fitness, 120 in the U.S., all genres. Subtle flex. But anyway, Rick Rubin is this guy who just like consults bands and artists. He said, like, I get paid for my thoughts, which is a crazy concept. But he said the most successful he's ever seen creators, musicians, band members, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers is a band he's worked with. Obviously, we know who they are. He said the artists do the best when they are creating art that is for them and them alone. If you create from a place of true authenticity and what you feel convicted and passionate about, it will land on the right eyes. Like, I make videos sometimes that make no sense with my brand, Coke Zero, and I just did it, and it 10 million views. It landed on the right eyes. So, like, there's so many people out there that think they're imprisoned or confined to the genre, and it's all about adaptability. So that's what I think happens. If TikTok goes away, the people who can adapt will survive. The cockroaches of social media.
That's the big thing I tell a lot of people that want to get into making videos. Just like, you are the niche.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started making content, I was like of this belief that I was like, I can only talk about fitness, and I just should only share about like what to do in the gym, what has helped me, you know, lose weight or, you know, get bigger and all this different shit. But that wasn't all of me. And then the moment I really started to show all my alleys of all these roads that I like fucking TSLs, you know, managing a little bit of degeneracy, and which is a huge part of me. You know what I mean? Like I told you, that fucking Hispanic fucking family have always, you know, drank as a cultural thing and having fun and stuff. The moment I started throwing in a little bit of that sauce and not confining myself to one road was the moment where really things started fucking, you know, like all these fucking things started blossoming.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. You know what I mean? And I tell it to everyone. I'm just like, there's more to you than just what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to figure out a way to transmit that message.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is pretty interesting. Do you think, is there anything else that you've thought about maybe diving into or innovating with in your content?
Yeah, and I said cockroaches of social media. I would say chameleons of social media is the right word. You got to be a chameleon with this stuff because it's gonna change, right? Like we talk.
Tequila makes me feel like a chameleon.
I feel like a chameleon. I'm fucking changing colors right now, bro. Here right now. That's probably not a good thing to say. But yeah, man, I ultimately, like, I don't want to be, I think we need a third tequila.
You gotta cut that.
I don't want the thing I'm known for to be fucking Moose is back there cracking up, bro. I think that
You gotta duct tape his mouth.
yeah, dude, I gotta duct tape my mouth. If you get one more tequila in me, I'm gonna say something fucking stupid on here. Yeah, I don't want it to just be about like fitness forever. Like what I really want to do with my life is I want to public speak. Like I want to I'm doing my first engagement with a college in Georgia. Maybe have another one, 2 more lined up in December with a marketing agency and a private equity company. I want to talk to people. I want to talk about the importance of building confidence and belief in yourself through a foundation of physical fitness. And that there is no excuse. Like the question that keeps bobbing in my head that I want to ask a room full of people is, what lies have you told yourself as to why you're not in the best shape of your life right now? Because anything you say is a lie. It's all bullshit. It's all a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not too busy. Your kids aren't the reason. Your kids aren't an excuse. They are the reason that you get in shape. Your fucking lifestyle just sucks and you're not prioritizing it. And like I truly want to teach people that you don't have to be an ultramarathoner. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but you have to have fitness as hygiene. It has to be hygiene for you. It's a baseline. It's like brushing your teeth or showering. It's just something you fucking do. So I think what I would like my content to evolve into is just being on stage more, being in front of people in real life. Like that's where I think that I can make the most impact, is talking to someone in a room and not necessarily on my phone.
Yeah.
That's what I see for myself.
Dude, talk to me a bit about more of this analogy you've used as fitness as hygiene.
Yeah.
It's essential to like explain a bit.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
fucking buzzing off my shitter.
I'm buzzing. I'm about to have a third one right now, bro. The way that I feel about fitness is simple. It's like I just said earlier. For me, I view fitness as the same way as I view brushing my teeth or showering. It is a part of my hygiene. And I think that, like many things in this life, it's not necessarily the situation itself that burdens you. It's your perspective on the situation. One of my favorite quotes of all time, so simple yet so profound. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. So many things in this life boil down to how you view them and the vantage point from which you look at them, and not necessarily the situation itself. And so for me, I always viewed fitness and the gym and eating well as this thing I had to do. Like, I wanted to get abs. I wanted bigger biceps. I wanted to be leaner. And so it felt like an obligation, something I had to do. But it's actually something I get to do. You don't have to, you get to. If you have an able body out there and you're able to walk and train and move, like there are people that would fucking kill to be in that situation. I'll never forget one of my early videos, a guy commented when I talked about this concept, when someone asked me, why get in shape? Why not? Life's short. This guy commented, I developed multiple sclerosis and I've lost the ability to walk, and I would give anything to just go for a jog again. It's like, how fucking dare I not make the most of my physical body when someone out there feels that way? Like, that's crazy to me that you could not want to get in better shape when you have the physical body. So for me, the day that I started viewing fitness as part of my hygiene routine, not necessarily about the aesthetics, the fucking body fat percentage, the muscle development, but about like, this is just something I do to maintain a clean body and a degree of cleanliness. This is the day everything changed for me, because I never do something in a workout or make a decision around my food emotionally. I make it logically. And that's too many people make emotional decisions around their fitness, and it's why they're fat, tired, and unhappy. It's because they rely on emotional decision making, and that's a problem.
And when do you think people, like, because for me it's like, you know, you see someone who's like very out of shape, who openly is like, I'm happy this way, eating like shit, consuming all these terrible foods, junk food on a normal basis. And I think it's to the point of like self-respect. Do they anger you? How do you feel about people who push this belief and perspective on social media? You know, of like, it's okay to be, not healthy.
No, it's not, and no, you're not. That's the first thing I would say. No, it's not okay, and no, you're not happy. You're full of shit.
You think you can tell someone if you think you can tell, like, some people say they're actually happy. Do you actually think they're happy?
No.
I don't think they are.
There are so many people who have come out, like people that are morbidly obese working on it. There's a lot of content creators that are like 100 pounds down and chasing another 100, right? Like coming from morbid obesity to a healthy life. And so many of them have said, like, I was fucking lying to myself. I was saying I was happy and I felt good. And the truth of the matter is I felt terrible and I looked terrible. So we lie to ourselves to perpetuate our current behaviors because it's a state of comfort. And so that makes sense. Like people with addictions and issues tell themselves, like, I don't have a problem. Yeah, you fucking do. You're just not ready to own up and admit it because that means you have to change, and that's scary. So no, I don't believe that someone carrying 100 extra pounds of body fat, one, looks in the mirror and goes, this is as good as it gets for me and this is where I want to be. And two, if you don't want to make it about aesthetics, maybe I'm wrong. Fuck me. If that's the case, fine. Your brain, your organs, nothing fires the way it should when you're metabolically sick. Like the big thing for me, I said earlier, I became addicted to feeling good. When I'm taking my magnesium and I'm sleeping and I'm eating nutrient-dense whole foods, I think better. I think on my feet better. My speaking is better. My energy is different. Like so many of the things that are impacted by our lifestyle, like bad sleep, bad diet, and not exercising, is subconscious. It's our reaction time. It's our mood states. It's our reactivity to certain stimulus. It is better and sharper when we do the things that we do. And so if you don't want to make it about aesthetics, fine. Make it about your risk of Alzheimer's, dementia, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, stroke, cancer. You can't tell me that you are better off carrying 100 pounds of body fat on your frame.
Well, aside from 100 pounds of body fat, what do you think is, like, aside from losing the body fat, sleep, all these different things, what's the most important thing? Sleep, routine, nutrition, workout regimen. Where does someone begin? Is there a certain place to begin with mentally, anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that there is if I was starting from day zero, what do I do approach? And it's stupid simple, and I'll break it down. It's basically, number one, there are like three main pillars of health. There's sleep, there's exercise, and there's there's sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Like those are the big ones, right? Sleep well, eat well, train well. But if the sleep pillar is not where it needs to be, nothing else is going to work. Like if you're sleeping 4.5 hours a night, which most Americans are.
I did that for a month.
It's terrible. Yeah, you lived that when you were on tour, right?
Yeah.
You're so compromised. Number one,
I felt like a raccoon with rabies.
your cognitive fucking ability was just cooked.
Couldn't think straight.
You can't.
Couldn't think straight.
If you're averaging, there's an interesting statistic. The average person who lives past the age of 60 that sleeps less than 6 hours a night that has health complications is 0. Every single human being who sleeps less than 6 hours a night has some form of health complication, minor or major. It's crazy. We spend a third of our life doing it. It's important. So for me, if you're sleeping poorly, your appetite's going to be fucked because sleep regulates your ghrelin and leptin, your hunger hormones. Your decision-making, your executive function is going to be lower, so you're going to have bad cravings. You're not going to make good choices. You're not going to be awake enough to go to the gym. You're going to become dependent on caffeine, which makes you have caffeine late into the day, which compromises your sleep again. It all starts on the foundation of quality sleep. And then from there, focus on food that grew in the ground, grew on a tree, or had a mom and dad. Whole foods, meat, fish, eggs, potatoes, fruit, rice. If you just made that 90% of your diet and you focused on how to eat it in a way that you enjoyed, seasonings, learn how to cook a steak, learn how to roast potatoes, basic stuff, know your way around a kitchen, that food is fucking delicious. We were talking about this last night, bro. We had a massive tomahawk with some roasted potatoes. That shit was fire.
It was amazing.
And it's like, you can't tell me that whole food isn't good. You're an idiot. You don't know how to cook. So that for me, whole foods, proper sleep, and just walk 60 minutes a day. If you did nothing else, if you did that for 6 months, you feel totally different.
What about your occasional fish-o-fillets?
Oh God, you want to get me on this right now? I'll die on this hill.
You like fast food a lot.
I ate a fillet of fish every day for 7 days.
How do you pronounce it? Filet-o-fish?
Filet-o-fish.
You couldn't pay me to have some fucking...
I'm going to go get one after this, straight up.
You could not pay me to have... Dude, you couldn't pay me to have fish from a
shut your fucking
McDonald's.
mouth. Shut your fucking mouth.
Sounds like, dude, that shit's like, there's wild caught, there's farm raised, and then there's sphincter disruption.
Fun fact:
Sphincter. How does your sphincter feel after you have
it could be better.
fish fillet?
It could be better, but it could also be worse.
There's no way your toilet is in a good
Bro,
state.
McDonald's.
after
No,
you
shut your
have
mouth.
a
Shut your
fish
fucking
fillet.
mouth.
You
Shut
did
your
a,
fucking mouth.
You did a 7-day series
And I ate at
on
5 different
eating
fast food
fish
restaurants.
fillet sandwiches.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I felt terrible, but it was awesome.
What do you mean you felt terrible?
I learned a lot about number one, fast. Are you gonna have one? Yeah. All right, let's fucking do it. Put that ice in your cup. If we'll be right back. All right,
You could not fucking pay me to eat a fish fillet.
I'm gonna black Richie out with this one.
Yo. That tilapia is coming from fucking
It's
Guangdong.
first off-
It's coming from Guangdong.
First off, motherfucker, it's cod. Second off, it is.
Where is
I
that?
think
That
wild
cod is straight cod,
Dude,
Dookie.
McDonald's says that shit's wild cod, and you know what? It fucking tastes like it.
It is not wild cod.
So
Wild cod from the Nile.
I did a challenge. I did a challenge where I ate filet of. There's no fucking lime juice in this.
Yo, Moose, how often do you have a fillet of fish?
Yeah,
Never tried that in my life, bro.
dude, you're.
Scared to have fish from McDonald's.
Y'all are some fucking peons. That's all I know, bro. So I'm so serious. It's so good. It's a cult classic. Like my dad loves them. My mom loves them. Let's shout out my mom and dad. I love you, Mike and Beverly. You're my best friends. Very supportive. Big
Bro,
reason
look at
I'm
this
here.
guy's pump right now, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's the tequila, dude. It's dehydrating me. You ever seen like bodybuilders like before they step on stage, they'll take like a shot of tequila?
Oh yeah, dude, I've seen they take like a little fucking shooter of Tito's.
Yeah, alcohol has a diuretic effect, so you'll shed water. I don't know if that's true. A lot of what they do is bullshit. But what were we talking about? Fish. I did 7 days of fast food fish. So I had a fast food fish sandwich from Checkers, a few from McDonald's. Checkers was crazy. Even
I've
then,
never
I
even
was
been
like,
to Checkers.
even then, I was like, what am I doing? Like, that's fucking crazy. And I told the drive-thru workers what I was doing. I was filming myself, and I was like, I'm having a fast food fish sandwich every day. And the guy was like,
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So I did it every day.
It
And
stank.
but I will say, the biggest lessons I've learned, number one, fast food is drugs. Like, I remember
Sugar is a drug, bro.
sugar's a drug, fast food's a drug. Like, it is engineered to hijack your dopamine receptors. They make it that way. Perfectly crispy, perfectly seasoned, enough MSG. I remember I had to go get the scariest sandwich of the challenge was Captain D's, because like who eats fast food fish
What
all
the
the
fuck
time?
is Captain D's?
Y'all not have Captain D's here?
No, we got Chick-fil-A, McDonald's.
Do you have Long John
Kentucky
Silver's?
Long John Silver's.
Moose knows. Moose knows. Okay.
Moose has dabbled with fast food a good amount.
I love fast food. I had a McDouble and a McChicken before my 20-mile run last weekend. And an orange juice.
Yeah, but I feel like runners after they run, they'll have like
No, this was before the run.
oh wow.
This was to fuel my body for performance.
Do you have to take a mid-run shit?
I did not take a trail shit, but that is a thing.
A trail shit.
Yeah, you gotta take trail shits because when you
Do you
run,
carry wipies with you on
oh
the
yeah, you
trail
carry,
run?
bro. If you're doing an ultra marathon, you're
Yeah, I always see like ultra marathoners. They have like the little backpack with 2 little things of water. Do they carry TP
oh yeah, they
and
got
fucking ass wipes in the
cottonelle.
back?
They got cottonelle wipes in that bitch too.
They got cottonelle wipes.
So when you run for a long time, your cortisol is elevated for so long. So like the physiological response of exercise, right? Blood leaves your organs and goes to your extremities so you can perform. The sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Or is that parasympathetic? Whichever one is activity. But the point is,
system.
when you run for a long time, like more than 2 hours, your body's like, all right, we gotta bring blood back to the stomach. And so randomly at like mile 18, you've been having gels, quick carb sugars, and then your stomach's like, this is happening right now and you're not gonna like it. And you have to like peel off to the side of the trail and you gotta take a trail shit. Ultra runners know this. Any distance runners are running, your stomach does crazy shit. But
I've done aqua shits.
that's crazy. What'd you say earlier? You were a pro aqua shitter?
Aqua dumper, bro.
Aqua dumper is the word you used.
Yeah.
This is becoming more unhinged as we get more and more inebriated.
I was in sleepaway camp back in 2011. And
What the
had,
fuck is a sleepaway camp?
What do you mean what's a sleepaway camp? Like, you
Like,
go in,
like a camp where you camp.
Yeah, you go to this camp and like you stay in a cabin with a ton of kids and shit and like you're
And
gone.
we just call that summer camp where I'm from.
Yeah, summer camp, but you sleep at it.
Yeah, yeah.
You've never been to one of those?
Honestly, no.
Yeah, so I went to one called Robin Hood, and they had like this iceberg inflated in the lake and shit, and like all these different slides. And one day I was with my boy. I was like, bro, I gotta drop a fucking thick guy right now.
How old were you?
I was like 12.
Is this the first aqua dump?
This was the first debut aqua dump. I just wheeled down my bathing suit and just laid the log, bro. It was so bad because it fucking floated to the top of the
Yeah,
fucking water.
they're buoyant.
And I just went below the water and swam like 40 yards away from it. And I was like, fuck.
You ruined some poor little girl's day.
I hope not, but
Someone
probably.
fucking grabbed a handful of that shit thinking it was
Yeah,
Lakeland.
and like you had to wear like a life jacket in the lake. And I just launched the life jacket. I was gone. I was gone.
Jesus Christ. How did we get on? Oh, trail dumps, aqua
Yeah,
dumps.
I mean, trail dumping, aqua dumping. That's the best part about being a man, though, to be quite honest. You can leak anywhere you want.
Well, a chick could aqua dump if she wanted to.
Yeah, but a chick aqua dumping versus a guy aqua dumping is, I think, is more acceptable. I'm sorry. I just have to say.
When you're in a body of water, there are no rules. Kind of becomes primal.
What type of body of water activities have you done?
I spent most of my young years in a lake because I didn't grow up near a beach like you. But
I wish I had that, to be honest. Because
lakes are
only
the
the beach.
shit. Weird shit goes down at the lake
Lake
house.
degeneracy, I think, is higher on the degeneracy spectrum than beach degeneracy.
You want to talk about my past life, dude? Like,
What
for
did
me,
you
it
do-
was
what did-
fucking Miller Lights and Marlboro Lights, the weekend of the light.
Were there birds at the lake?
Plead the fifth. No, there. I mean, yeah, sure. Growing up, being a kid, I had a buddy with a great lake house. We go out and we have some bangers at, and yeah, like, dude, summer lake houses in the South, you get fucking rowdy.
I need to come to the South.
You're in the South, you dumb dick. We're in Florida,
This is not the South.
but it's a
South, though.
different South because here, like, I walk down the street and no one's speaking English because everyone's like Cuban or Hispanic, and
Yeah, people speak.
it ain't
more-
like walking down the street in Kennesaw, Georgia. I'll tell you that.
Do you ever hear people speak Spanish in Georgia?
Rarely, like very rarely.
No Mexicans,
There are Mexicans in Georgia, of course, but
South Americans.
probably. But it's not like
Are
here.
there any like Hispanic joints?
No,
No Hispanic food.
La Paria and La Casina, which is a fucking chain.
That's why yesterday you got all excited about having an empanada at the restaurant.
That empanada was authentico.
What'd you think of it?
It was fire as fuck, bro. They definitely cooked that shit over fire.
They did.
It was gas.
Had meat and chicken.
Yeah, that ribeye we had, I will admit, could have been better. For what we paid for it,
It was
could have
lacking
been-
a little salt.
It needed some salt, but also it was like cooked oddly. It was like rare in the middle and like medium.
What's the
on
best part
outsides.
about living in the South?
Oh man, that's such a good question. Dude, honestly, the best, like, if I'm not even trying to be funny, the best part of living in the South, and I didn't notice this until I went to California, people aren't fucking nice out there.
In California?
Like Southern hospitality, like little things, right? Like
I've heard a lot about Southern hospitality.
like you walk down the street in Georgia, and you one of these, you know, the difference between the up and the down knob. You know, if
Down
I,
is
if
a
I,
respect.
yeah, if I up nod you, I know you. If I down nod you, it's like, how you doing? You do that when you look at people. You hold the door for people. They say thank you. So many times in California, I fucking hold the door for some asshole walking into Ralph's, which is the supermarket out there, and they just like, it's like I'm not there, and I would just go, "You're welcome." I just want to fucking snatch them back. Sorry. Point is, Southern hospitality. That's my favorite thing, but also the food. Food in Atlanta rips.
What type of food are you eating out there?
Country cooking, baby.
Macaroni?
Atlanta's a melting pot city, bro. Like, there's a
know.
crazy Asian scene there. Buford Highway. If you know,
Buford?
you know.
Buford.
Yeah. Buford Highway is like the craziest authentic Asian food you can get. Possibly
Why is it
in the
called
South.
Buford? I sometimes feel
Buford.
like Buford.
You feel like your name's Buford?
Yeah.
You got to come check it out, man. You got to come visit Atlanta. You would
It's
like
only
it.
like a 6-hour drive.
No, it's more like 8 from here.
What's your meal of choice?
Oh my God.
What do you like? What's your favorite meal out in the South?
What day? Like, what am I? Are we talking like if I'm on my shit or if I'm like there are no
You
holds
just came off a
barred?
rest day, and you're feeling fucking hungry, horny, and thirsty.
Oh my God, what a combination! That's lethal.
That's a good combo.
I'm gonna do something fucked up if that's my if that's the scenario. A go-to for
People
me.
walking around with like shit kickers everywhere.
yeah, got their Timbs on. No, I would say, dude, the go-to meal for me, like if you're gonna go to Buford Highway, you're gonna get some fucking dim sum. You're gonna get some steamed foods.
Bro, I can never keep my serious face if you're like, yo, let's go over to Buford Highway.
Bro, you don't know about you want. I gotta take you to Buford Highway Farmers Market. Like people in Atlanta are like, yo, yes, Buford Highway Farmers Market's the craziest thing ever.
Yo,
Bro.
you know who says the word Buford a ton?
Huh?
Freezer tarps. You know
What does he-
freezer?
yeah. What does he say about Buford?
When he's fucking like absolutely toasted, he's like, I'm feeling like fucking Buford right now.
Well, I don't even know what that. I just know Buford is a part of Georgia. There's a Buford, Georgia. I don't understand what's so funny about that.
The word Buford is hilarious.
What does it mean?
It's just, I don't know. When I think of Buford, I just think I'm fucking demolished. Like I
Fair
feel,
enough.
I feel like Buford right now.
I feel pretty good.
I'm disheveled.
What were we talking about? This
Talking
is
about
good.
Atlanta and your favorite food.
Dude, how does Rogan do this? Like when they do protect our parks and they'll like eat
I don't
mushrooms.
think they're pouring up fucking.
They
half a
are,
sh-
bro. They're gunning fucking beers from a bald eagle's butthole.
Yo,
He's got like this ceramic eagle that he shotguns beers out of, and it goes straight out of its ass. And they hammer like 12
I
beers
think
on
I've
the
seen
show.
that before.
Huh?
I think I've seen them hammer the butthole.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then they'll like
No,
eat
did he?
mushrooms, and they're like, "Oh, let me." This will 100 million people will see this, and they just get washed.
What do you think about Diddy?
What about Diddy? I need to be very careful with what comes out of my.
Have you?
What are you about to say? Spit it out, you fuckwad. What are you about to say?
The zin is falling out of my fucking mouth. Have you ever gone bulk shopping in Costco for Diddy oil?
What did you say earlier? That Costco put out a statement and was like, "We have literally never sold baby oil."
Bro, Diddy's lawyer.
Store in the U.S.
Bro, Diddy's
Really?
Diddy's lawyer said that the reason he bought 1,000 tubs of lube was because he was just on a normal day of bulk buying and taking advantage of Costco.
What a terrible defense statement.
That lawyer should get sued.
Yeah, like I would fire him immediately.
What's your go-to bulk Costco order?
Oh,
You Costco shop?
fuck yeah, I Costco shop, dude. Costco's the
Fire
truth.
right now. What are you getting?
I'm getting 6 pounds of the 8812. All right, so let's go. Actually,
8812 beef.
yeah.
Okay.
This is actually Costco's such a great way to like make a healthy diet enjoyable because you know what they master at Costco is prepped
Volume.
but prepped and ready.
Is it on
healthy
Buford
food.
Highway too?
No, this one's on Barrett Parkway. I'll take you to Buford Highway. It'll be an interesting experience.
shut the fuck
they got fucking they got fucking Asian food and some other questionable spots. But for me, like I love Costco because there's a lot of people who claim they can't eat healthy because they have to cook and like I can't cook. First off, fucking grow up and domesticate yourself. But
Domesticate.
Costco has a ton of like cooked, ready, high protein, minimal ingredient stuff like chicken skewers, sous vide sirloin, and it's not a bunch of bullshit and preservatives. It's solid food. You just microwave it and it's ready. So I'll always get like 88 12 ground beef. Got to get the prime ribeyes because they're always the best ribeyes money can buy. USDA prime Costco ribeyes are the shit. And I get the prosciutto panino roll-ups.
Oh, prosciutto panino roll-ups,
Bro.
Bro, that is my airport go-to.
Yes, dude, me
Every
too.
time I go to the airport, fuck Dunkin', fuck Starbucks, fuck all that. I'm loading up on prosciutto panino,
Fucking 8 of them.
DCs,
Yep.
and fucking any sort of cheese and ham deli protein.
Wait, this is-
with
this
DCs.
is-
And I swear, bro, like one of the things for me is like when I travel, if you eat like shit before you get on a plane, like I don't know about you, but my feet start looking like fucking pizza rolls if I eat too crazy bad
I'm
shit.
so glad
I
you
hate
brought
the
this up.
hypertension on
I'm
planes.
so glad you brought
so
this
I
up.
either fast or I'm doing paninos.
Yes, bro.
Paninos.
If you're on a plane, so this is another thing that people struggle with.
Paninos.
How do I eat well when I fucking travel? What
That's
do
a
they?
great question.
So prosciutto panino, like literally just cured meat and cheese. So I basically go keto when I'm flying,
Same.
like protein and fat,
An ass.
and and you can find what you're looking for. You're gonna give me in so much fucking trouble. You can find what you're looking for. I always go prosciutto panino roll ups. Get like 4 of those, or they come in a pack of 5. at the
Overdose on
airport.
caffeine.
And I get a Fairlife. So that's 80 G's of protein, 0 carb, and then I just obliterate caffeine. And or I'll go pure fast. Like flying here, I had nothing, black coffee and sparkling water the whole way. And you're right, because you're right. If you like have a normal meal and you get on an airplane, you will blow up like a balloon.
Yeah.
But also you just don't feel good because like you
Yeah.
go eat and then you just go sit and you just feel fucking gross. So like don't eat the Subway, don't eat that bullshit. Go into the airport like convenience store and put together prosciutto panino, maybe like some nuts, low carb, high fat, and that will keep you satiated for hours. You will enjoy that a lot.
I think the biggest challenge for me when I'm traveling is do I get hammered in the terminal or do I not?
Airport drunk is the most fun ever
Yeah, it's like the warm up for the vacation.
because time doesn't
Even if
exist
you're
in
on a
an airport.
business trip, you're like, that looks like a nice bar.
Bro, I got blackout drunk at 8:45 in the morning one time at an airport. I was just hammering Casamigos on the rocks.
There's no clock.
There's no laws.
There's no laws.
You could commit a crime in an airport.
People
It's
are
not even
drinking
illegal.
Bloody Marys at 6 a.m.
Yeah, dude. They're like, I'm like, where are you headed? They're like, Oklahoma. I'm like, what? It's fucking an hour earlier than it is here. Why are you drinking right now? I'm like, I'm in an airport.
You know, one of the best investments you can make is Amex Platinum. You have it?
I have the Sky Miles Platinum.
You got a lounge?
Not anymore. They fucking took it away from me, so I got to get the big dog
Well,
card.
the Amex Lounge Platinum, $600 a year.
Yeah, it's now $750 a year. They raised that shit.
Fuck, I didn't even know. But this lounge, bro, you walk in and it's a fucking 5-star restaurant, and they got the mimosas flowing, they got the booze flowing, and every time I go in there, I'm like, fuck. Should I get fucking schmizzied?
I can't not.
It's hard.
When I go into the Sky Club,
But the thing is that like I don't do it every time, but it does counteract the Panino low hypertension.
Yeah, it
if you
counteracts
drink
the
on the
prosciutto
flight,
effect.
you're fucked.
yeah, that's another thing I love doing. Like I like to fly first class, and I like to get hammered on the plane. It's fun.
So you're going from one alley to the other here.
Yeah, look,
When do you choose to pick your poison?
look, dude. I'm sure the difference. If you go to like 3 minutes into this podcast versus right now, and you listen to the way we're talking, it's like two different fucking people right now. So it's
the
like
only
I think
people who get to see the full TSL time pod are the ones who make it to the fucking pep.
the one who make it to the end.
Pour up a damn tequila.
Yeah, if you're listening to this right now, I don't give a fuck if it's 7 a.m. You better start drinking. I have two ways that I think the way that I exist sometimes would seriously shock people. I think they would think that one, I'm either a phony or an imposter, or two, that I'm lying. But like, I will go off the rails for a few days. I'll never forget.
What
like
does
the
it
trip,
mean to go off the rails?
Bro, the trip I
for
took-
Michael Smoker.
I took a trip
The
to Key
smoker.
West. I took a trip to Key West, and I got obliterated on the flight. And it was a fucking 70-minute flight, and I had like 9 drinks in 70 minutes. And then we got off the plane. I'm like, I'm fucking slurring. I'm like, it's brunch time, and we go and we eat brunch, and I'm still drinking. So like, but the point is, when you what?
Continue.
I was gonna say, when you get to a point in your physique where you're lean, you have a lot of muscle. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. In order to achieve a certain physique, you need a period of imbalance, right? Like when I'm dialed in on a cut, I'm not going out, I'm not drinking. When I'm dialed in on a prep, like 4 weeks out from ultra prep, the alcohol's gone.
How many weeks out are you right now?
11.
Oh, wow.
I'm
okay.
chilling. But like there comes a time where you enter a period of imbalance if you want to do something uncommon. And if you want to get shredded, you want to lose 50 pounds, there are opportunity costs. You have to give up. You have to say no now to be able to say yes to what you truly want in the future. And if you can do that, if most people can just master the art of saying no in the now, they can have what they want, and then they can get back to a balanced area. So like I will have bender weekends because I'm already lean. I already have a fair amount of muscle that like I can handle that, and then I just dial back in for a few days and I go back to normal. I reestablish my baseline. But if you want to get to that point where you can do those things, you need a period of no. It's like Chris Williamson has this great quote where he says, if you always operate in the interest of you tomorrow, you'll be better off. So like if you're on a weight loss journey, if you're trying to do something cool, you're trying to run a marathon, you're trying to lose 100 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever, do today what you tomorrow would want you to do, and you'll be in a good spot. And then once you do that enough, it's much easier to maintain with just a little bit of discipline what you've built, and do things like have fucking 3 tequilas that are probably equivalent to 6 tequilas the way I've been pouring
About 9 tequilas.
at 4:30 on a Friday. Because, you know, I'll dial back in when I get back from this trip.
I think the thing that people also sometimes forget is that the more muscle you have on your frame, the more calories you burn in a sedentary state. Like
Yeah,
if you're not
yeah.
moving, like if you have a shit ton of muscle and you're just sitting, you're burning more calories than someone who's just a fat shit.
Yeah, you're more metabolically active.
And so lots of muscle, lots of drinking equals less damage.
Yes.
So being jacked allows you to drink more tequila because you
don't know
burn
if I
more
agree with that.
calories. It
I'll tell you what doesn't have any more muscle than it did is my liver. My liver's the same as it was when I was 19.
my liver's got a 6-pack.
Yeah, it probably does. It's
It
doing curls right now inside of you.
It is.
Yeah, we're fucking taking it to failure.
Yep. They say the best form of training is to failure.
And this is literally the start. We're gonna go out, probably gonna grab dinner with TJR,
Yep.
and that's you said that he's a lunatic.
He's not a lunatic, but everyone's got a dog in them.
Yes, that's what you said. He's got dog in him.
Do you want to let the dog out the cage?
He's out right now.
My dog is running around the park right now.
Yeah, he's chewing on the fucking master lock right now.
I got a prime bone from Petco right now sitting on my fucking... And these walls are making me see 3 right now.
Dude, I can't look at you for too long. I have to look at the table for a little bit because of these fucking wall panels, dude. How long have we been recording right now? Are we at like an hour?
and 30?
Hour 25. Not bad. Did we say we wanted to be on the Rogan flow? I wonder how many people are. If you're still here at an hour and 25 minutes, please let us know. That would mean a lot because I know we went off the rails there for a little bit.
That would be awesome. I mean, the podcast really taking its turn, and that's how the TSL Time podcast goes.
This is the most fun I've ever had on a podcast.
It's
and
been a
I've
great
done a
time.
lot of podcasts of my own. This
Yeah.
is not that fun compared to this.
TJR and yourself and myself.
He said pour up a shot.
No.
Should we pour up a shot?
That's not a good
Should we
idea.
pull straight from the bottle?
Shut up.
Wait, I've always wanted to do this. Pull that up, Jamie.
You know, I actually, no. What I actually just realized in this pod, I don't give a fuck. We're running all this shit through. Every pod moving forward, there's going to be another light on Moose in the corner, and there's going to be a mic on him. And
yeah,
this
he
is
needs
how-
to do like young Jamie type shit for
needs to
Joe
get in.
Rogan.
He needs to get in.
100%. He has a mic right there.
Are you drunk right now? Are you drunk?
Me?
Yeah.
Nah, bro. I'm sitting here sober, just laughing at you fools.
I'm about to make Richie take a pull out of this bottle. Me instigating this is so out of pocket.
It's not.
Come on, let's do it. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What is that? What?
Got that. Got that.
That's
got that.
crazy. Yeah, that's-
wait. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
That's crazy.
Rewind. Cut. Wait. Moose just said we have to take a shot.
Yeah, we have to take a shot, and we're going to take a shot, and I'm going to take a shot. It's
Straight
literally
from the nozzle.
straight from the teeth.
From the what?
From the teeth.
From the who?
From the teeth.
From the teeth.
You ever seen that video of that girl who has like
Ass or
cow udder in
tits?
her hand? Oh, Jesus Christ. That's just took a hard right down shit show lane. Ass.
Ass all day.
I like a good butt. What can I say? Respectfully, I respect women, but I like a good butt.
That just makes it so much more questionable.
I like a good butt.
Gluteus maximus. Mm-hmm. Did you expect to see a lot of nice ass in Miami?
I can't believe this is going to go on the internet. This is crazy. I expected there to be nice looking women here. Yes. And I thought when I got here that I knew what to expect. In line with expectations. Nice looking women.
BBL.
That shit's gross.
It is.
Just do some fucking barbell squats
It's
for a year,
hard
you
to
lazy
not
asshole.
look at it.
No, it's gross. That shit doesn't do anything for me, bro. Like, you look
A
look
natural-
like two toothpicks on an olive.
Let me tell you something.
I'm gonna pull this tequila.
Respectfully. I was in Italy last month. And that shit is natural out there.
That was a lot more than I expected. Here you go.
The natural ass in Italy is nice.
Italian women are nice looking.
Italian food, Italian language, Italian drinks, Italian women. Very nice.
What was the favorite place you went on tour?
Italy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
Yep.
All around.
You can buy a carbonara pasta in the fucking in a shit shack, and it's gonna take a dookie on any pasta you eat out here.
Yeah, you pay like $3 for the best pasta you've ever had in your life.
Yeah, that's the thing that fucking pisses me off about Europe, and now I'll never move there, is that if you're working in the U.S. and you're doing pretty well, the life you can live out in Europe,
like a king, right?
it's dangerous. You ever paid €3 for fucking 3 pints of beer and a couple olives?
I would be in deep shit if I went out there.
What are you doing after?
Having 3 more.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would be fat, drunk, and probably dead.
Right, I gained 20 pounds when I lived in Europe for 6 months.
Where'd you live?
I lived in Madrid and in London.
Really? Oh, that's such a pussy ass pull.
Dude, I just took a shot.
I literally just put 4 ounces in my mouth. What Moose said. Get your shit together and put another shot in your mouth.
This is getting unhinged.
Yeah, I don't care. We're here to live. And tomorrow, what are we going to do tomorrow? We're going to, what does that whiteboard say right there? Burn off McDonald's lunch as fast as possible.
I hope so.
That's going to be fucking rough. Fuck you, Moose, for coming up with that, by the way. This is crazy. Now people are seeing who I really am. This is weird.
No, it's not.
You motherfuckers are like, he never has fun. He never does anything cool.
Yeah, why do people tell you don't smile?
That's like the second most common comment I get is, this man's never been happy in his life. And it's like, that's a crazy thing to say about someone. Look at your little short ass.
My leg fell asleep.
Would you like me to move this so you can put your leg on it?
Nah.
Okay. But yeah, man, I'm glad we did this because it like honestly is nice to like unbutton a little bit.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. I think that you play a more unbuttoned version of yourself on the internet than you really are. And I play a more buttoned up version of myself on the internet than I really am because it's
But I don't think we play.
no, I mean it's really who we are to a degree.
I mean, I think people can see through it a lot, though, to be quite honest. Like, I mean, a lot of people think I'm like beyond degenerate.
Mm-hmm.
They think I do drugs and completely go off the fucking haywire, but I don't. You know what I mean? I genuinely stick to the TSL method, get my fucking dial in always. But, you know, we sometimes we enter that dark horse territory, the Buford.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like Buford.
I think that
I think it's healthy to say hello to Buford here and there.
it is. You got to knock on Buford's door, and
But the only way, like, I genuinely do believe, the earlier you hang out with Buford, the less you hang out with him afterwards.
that's true. That's true.
I was Buford's best friend for a while, bro.
Yeah, he and I were on speaking terms for a while. We were talking every day.
Dude.
I've done some dark shit, man. 21-year-old Michael was doing shit that 30-year-old Michael would never do. Like, older me would be scared of
You
younger
gotta
me.
expand.
I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that. It might not behoove me in a court of law. But no, in reality, I just think that, you know, I was into drugs.
It's the best podcast I've done so far.
I was into drug. I appreciate that, man. I was into drugs and alcohol.
were?
Yeah, I wasn't doing like coke I wasn't doing like meth or
I mean, bro,
heroin.
the reality is everyone's dabbled a bit.
Yeah, like I've just dabbled in drugs and alcohol when I was a kid that didn't know any better, and it was terrible. And I would never touch that. I would never touch any of the shit I do now. Like I was smoking weed, I was drinking, I wasn't doing anything crazy, but I was doing it far too much. I was abusing it. Like anything to an extreme is a problem, and it was like I said earlier. It wasn't until I felt what it was like not doing those things 4 fucking days a week, to the point of excess, that I realized, like, oh, life's better this way. Life is so much better this way. And it's hard for me to relate to the person that I was. And that's another thing I think people struggle with. Do you know who Ethan Suplee is?
No.
Ethan Suplee he was that morbidly obese guy that played in Remember the Titans. He's been in a lot of movies. He's like a B-list celebrity, prominent actor. And he's lost, I think he said the total amount of weight he's lost and gained was like over 1,000 pounds. Like he's lost 100, gained 100, lost 200, gained 150. And he finally got to the point where he lost like 200 pounds and kept it off. And he's fucking jacked now. And he has this thing that he posts all the time on social media. And he says, it's a picture of him looking jacked. And he says, I killed my clone today. And I think that what people fail to realize, that in order to adopt some sort of sustainable change forever, a part of your identity now has to die. A part of who you are now has to die forever if you want to make any change that lasts. Like, you have to become a different human being. People who smoke or are addicted to fast food, you have to now say, I'm a fit, healthy person. I am someone who makes decisions that serves my body well. And if you don't, if you operate from a lens of, I can't have that right now, and not, I don't do that, it'll be really hard to stick. So I believe there's massive power in changing your identity, and that's what it took for me to come from booze hound 4 days a week, blacking out Thursday through Sunday, and smoking weed every single day.
You smoked every day?
Every day.
When did you
Every
stop
day.
smoking weed?
A long time ago.
Like when?
A couple years at least.
I stopped smoking weed in 2021, 2020.
I would say probably 22 for me. But
No,
back then,
2022, I actually smoked every day for like 4 months, but then I stopped completely.
I think it destroys your creativity and your willpower.
It fucks productivity. There's no way it doesn't.
There's no way it does, no matter who you are.
Ever since I completely stopped weed, I mean, I have so many friends just like me who smoked weed every day from 16 to like 20, 21, 22. Few, I would say 1% of my friends who smoked weed almost every day from 16 to like early 20s still smoke. Most of us have had this moment where we're like, whoa, like paranoia, anxiety.
That's what happened to me.
Doesn't hit the same, and you just stop. And I've stopped now for 2 years, 3 years fully. I mean, dude, we're at the beach. I'll rip the J. I'm at a special event. Someone's lighting up a J. Hit it. I haven't bought weed in a long time, and I've never felt better.
Yeah.
From a mental clarity standpoint, my biggest problem was that I would like literally sleep so long. I would enter such deep sleep. You know, your REM gets a little bit more fucked than your deep sleep, but I would sleep for like 10 hours. I'd wake up groggy, and I was like, oh,
It's terrible.
I hate it.
I went from every day to like, I would smoke once every other week.
What was your go-to method of smoking marijuana?
The bongski. No, that's a lie. Falls. I would smoke falls when I was a kid. You know what a
Smoke
fall
what?
is?
Fall.
Gravity bong.
What the fuck is up with people in the South doing that? Is Philadelphia in the
gee.
South?
No, Philadelphia's the Northeast, you dumb dick.
I have one friend who just rips fucking gravity bongs all day and shit.
Falls, the name of the game in Georgia was Falls. Oh, dude, if my parents are listening to this, Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. But the name of the game was get a water bottle. I can't believe I'm saying this on the
Chop it
internet.
in half.
No. You get a water bottle, you burn a hole in it on the bottom, a small hole. You plug that hole, fill it with water, put tinfoil over the top. My brain's probably done from smoking tinfoil. You poke holes in the tinfoil, you fucking light the weed, you let the water out, and it would just
Fill
make
up.
an ounce of weed last forever. And so I was doing that when I was a kid. And stopped doing that. Like I had a fucking brutal panic attack. And then it became a once in a while thing, and now I just don't touch it. Like the only substance I will consume will be alcohol.
Same.
Occasionally, and
I can control alcohol, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't ever be like, God, I need a drink right now.
Sometimes I do.
I don't. I do sometimes.
I mean, it's only because of Moose, though.
But what does Moose have to do with this?
You'll just look at me sometimes, and you'll just be like, and I'm like,
Sometimes I'm
and
like, God, I really want a drink. Like when we started this pod, before we started the pod, and we were sitting here about to do it. I was like, I'd love to have a cocktail right now. And then you were like, do you want a beer? I forgot we had a beer too. So we're like 7 drinks deep. And I was excited to drink. I was looking forward to it. And that's one thing I'm not afraid to admit. Like I love nutrient-dense food. I love training. I love running. I love exercising.
you love tequila.
I love tequila. And I'm not like drinking to blunt the pain or like running from something. I like the way I feel when
It's
I'm
funny.
inebriated. Yeah. I think I have the gene. So there's a genetic
I
mutation.
feel like Buford.
I feel like Buford. There's a genetic mutation that some people who drink actually, says alcohol is a depressant, but some people who drink overproduce dopamine. And so they feel better when they drink. And I think I have that mutation.
Same.
I feel like I'm on a little bit of Adderall when I'm fucking slightly buzzed. I want to like,
I don't know about
talk
Adderall, but I
and-
just feel like I can learn. I mean, tango.
I think I can do anything.
Hello.
Maybe I'm just describing the effects of alcohol that everybody has.
Yeah, no, but sometimes I feel like, a couple tequilas. It's like you just sat in a fucking speed car.
That's another thing about you and me too.
It's pretty bad though. Like
Your brain runs really fast though. Like your
Mine is
thoughts,
fast.
like
Mine is
that's
fast.
one thing I've learned about you since I got here.
I'm
is
very
like,
fast.
You think fast.
Hyper awareness is a bit too much.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. And for me, I'm not gonna lie. Like every once in a while, a few drinks just kind of quiets the voice. It like slows things down for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to admit that. It's like
That's
my
some
brain.
alcoholic tendencies, I think.
Yeah, but I drink like once every 2 weeks. Like I
Yeah.
don't crave it.
Yeah, same.
And so, but like I'll be laying in bed and I'm like, my mind is running 1,000,000 miles a minute. And every once in a while I have a cocktail and that just slows things down for me. I like existing at that baseline, and I think you should too, because I think it is our superpower. I think it's what allows us to create, talk on camera the way that we do. But every once in a while it becomes a lot. It
Yeah,
becomes a
yeah.
lot to handle.
No, there's no doubt that, like, bro, if you can, I mean, to anyone who's sober and has been able to fucking cut the booze completely, that's every time it's actually funny. Every time I see someone at the gym that's like extremely, like, you look at them and they're like, wow, that motherfucker's tight, shredded, in incredible shape. Like, you can just see it in their skin and their face and like the way they look. I asked them 2 questions. Number 1, how long have you been training? Always. I always used to ask, like, what do you do? You know what they do. They're consistent, they're disciplined, and they stick to the fucking script.
That's not what, it's how long.
It's how long. And the second question is, are you sipping? Most of the time, nay.
No. It's such an easy way to sabotage your fitness goals.
Yes.
It is. It's calorically dense. It fucks your sleep. It makes you hungry.
But I think I don't know. I'm not the type of person who, I honestly, I can't wrap my head around, like, people. I understand people who say, like, oh, I can have a good time without anything. I don't know if I can agree with that ever. Like a couple fucking tequilas on the dance floor and the disco ball, and I'm just fucking, my sphincter's getting,
Yeah, you lower your inhibitions a little bit.
yeah.
But I've had
Neuroscientists say they're uninhibited. I like to be uninhibited sometimes.
uninhibited. That's good. I like to be uninhibited. I do too. I have a lot of barriers.
With
when I don't
respect to
drink.
it. You got to respect it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. And I spoke to Santa Cruz Medicinals about it as well. It's like understanding that what you're consuming is poison. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Be aware
And
of
being
it.
aware of it.
Raise your awareness.
Raise your awareness. Fucking do the things you need to do. Play chess, not checkers. Always say it. TSL method. Hydrate, sweat, sunlight. Do the thing. And fucking enjoy. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
When you add, like, my dad is actually hilarious, bro. Like, he'll be like, God, I fucking hate drinking. Yo, can we get a glass of wine? Can we get a whiskey? And I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? He's been saying for so long, I want to quit drinking forever. He's fucking about to turn 50 and shit. And he's like, this is something that we've done our whole lives, and it's something you're probably going to continue to do forever. It's culturally in our families and everything like that. Drinking, South American background, whatever. And I'm just like, bro, like, why do you say that before you're gonna have a drink when you know you're gonna do it?
It's silly.
It's silly. So respecting it, being aware, I think is incredibly important.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like acknowledging like this isn't good for me. That's why I don't abuse it. Like
I'm an amazing time.
yeah, I have an amazing time. I love
I'm
the way
pissed.
I feel. I love the feeling of it. I'm not afraid to admit that, but I think, you know, I've got a really close family member who's dealing with liver issues, and it's actually not a drinker, but I know the risks of what we're doing, but I pray and I hope that that never happens to me later down the road. But I think that if you're aware of like the risks and the possibilities, and in turn, you don't abuse it, and you do things to not necessarily counteract it or overpower it, but you take care of yourself more often than not. I always talk about the 80-20 rule. If 80% of the year you're on your shit, that leaves you 75 days, that's 20% of the year, to do whatever you want. And if you just do that, you may not get there as fast as you want, as rapidly as you want,
But
but
it's
you will be on
sustainable.
the right track. Yeah. It's the 80-20 rule, man.
80-20 rule. I'm 85. I mean, 80-20, 80-15. I look at it from a week-to-week perspective. 15% of 7 days a week is one day. And that's the
Yeah.
day you got to give it to you.
Yeah.
And today's 15% for us.
Yeah, tonight is about to be 15%. What
And to that point, I'm about to fucking piss my
I'm about to piss my
shit, my
pants.
fucking sphincter.
yeah. Do we
You
close out here?
Higher Up Wellness, I love you, dude.
I love you too, brother.
You're a great guy.
Thank you for having me on, man.
He's gonna be back on here many fucking times.
Yeah, we're gonna do this a
I've
lot.
also, like, little background, like, we need to hang out. Me and this fucker, like, genuinely, I want to be with him more. He's a legend. Surround myself around fucking absolute dialed animals. Trying to convince him to move to Miami, but who knows? Maybe we'll figure out what happens. But dude, this has been a fucking lit episode. We're lit right now. We're gonna have a great time in Miami. Leave the people with a little something. You know, what's to come. You got a lot of things in the work.
Yeah.
You'll be back. You got your podcast right now on Spotify, top
Yeah.
100,
Yeah.
smashing it.
Podcast is cranking. It's called the Higher Up Podcast. It's available on Spotify and YouTube. We just broke top 10 in the country in health and fitness, top 150 in the country in all genres. So it's humbling. Thank you for saying something about it. It's all about just sharing easily implementable ways to improve your life. You know, if I could leave this world having done anything, it would be to tell people that getting the body you want, the mind you want, is really just 4 or 5 key decisions every day that people aren't making. And you can do things like have tequila with your boys and enjoy your life. And fitness should only create a more valuable, more fun, more exciting life for you. But we get one body, and everybody has a laundry list of problems until they have a health problem, and they have one problem. Everything else stops. So if you can just choose yourself in some form or fashion every day, whether it's a walk or a time to meditate or eating a nutrient-dense meal or going to the gym, everything about you will be better. Your work, your job, your relationships, your life, everything will be better. And that's all I want to give to people. It's all I want to leave my mark on this earth with, is telling people it's not hard. It isn't easy, but it is simple, right? And I'm going to try my best to continue to not overcomplicate it and continue to get that message out. And I'm just grateful that you gave me your platform for a little while to do that, brother. I love you, man.
Hell yeah, brother.
Let's do it. Let's go to dinner.
Let's go,
Let's
baby.
go.
TSL time, baby.
yeah.
Let's go.
All right,
Much love, guys. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace out.